the first question is, what is your vision right now? So if you have nearsight, just write nearsight. If you know the correction that you have, then write that down. If you have astigmatism or whatever. Okay, so the next question is, what do you think caused that? So what are some of the things that you think about? Some people say it's in the genes. When you grow older? Mm-hmm. Ah, sure. There's actually scientific evidence that proves that. That when you grow older, your eyesight deteriorates. Unfortunately, it's not really true. So what are some of the things that you wrote down as the cause? Edna, what do you think caused your vision problem?
Oh, I put down family tradition.
Family, it's in the family, yeah.
Well, not in the genes, I don't think. It's a family tradition that my mother wore glasses, and so therefore I wore glasses.
Mm-hmm.
That's tradition.
Yeah. So that you copied, her visual habits. Yeah, that's often these things are sort of innocent decisions that are made. At the time, of course, they were perfectly, valid. But then they sort of keep slushing around and still affect us. So it has a lot to do with the way that we perceive the world, right? Our interface to the world. Right? Yeah.
My initial problem was in the mid-40s when I began having blind spots in my field of vision along the floaters.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor said I had macular degeneration, gave me extensive cortisone treatment.
Yeah.
And later I remembered that just before then I had been working in the open and there was an eclipse of the sun and I was watching without any aids. And I wondered if that caused it. Later I had a physician who simply said, Mr. Clay, as we grow older, it happens to all of us, and I really think you're more senior than I am.
And we would never go back to him.
No, I can understand that. This gives me an opportunity to talk about a miracle that happened last year. A friend of mine in Hong Kong, her father is 80 or was 80 years old at the time. He had macular degeneration, which is, in his case, the central part of the vision is just a black spot. So if I'm looking at your face, I could only see your hair. The rest of it was black. Right. So he had gone to Mia Snyder in San Francisco and taken his workshop. And he was doing palming for something like 4 hours a day. And he didn't see any improvement very much. So since I was going to be in California, then she asked me, would you be willing to just take a trip to Reno? You can stay in his house. He's a great cook, which is true. And just sort of cheer him up. So I did that. They invited me for lunch in one of those glitzy places. And at the evening, in his house, we had a glass of white wine. A very interesting gentleman. He was an aide-de-camp to President Truman. He had been into chemical warfare thing in World War War II, sorry, and also in the Korean War. Not that old. So very interesting gentleman to talk to. And I did the same exercise with him that we're doing now. And so we went to bed, and in the morning he woke up 5:45 with light in his eyes. Right. Now I hadn't started doing anything, okay, really. He woke up with light in his eyes, which was a surprise to him because his ophthalmologist had said there's not enough light coming into your eyes, that's why you have a vision problem. So he was very surprised. So he got out of bed and opened the drapes, and his window faces out to a golf course. And for the first time, he could see the houses on the other side of the golf course. And he said that one of the black spot was sort of grayish, and the other one was pitted. And he could, for the first time, recognize his neighbor going to work, passing outside. So when I sort of surfaced at 9 o'clock for breakfast, he was sitting there in his dressing gown. He says, before we do anything, I need to tell you something. I don't know if I'm making it up, but I don't think so. But what do you think? So he told me the story. So during that day, the next couple of hours, we were able to totally erase the black spots. And this is a year ago, and they haven't come back. Beautiful things happened. He was making lemongrass tea, and outside on the terrace was sort of like a step and a half down. So normally he would sort of hold the door and then try to go out, but he just went out, and he stopped well, I can't do this. And then in the afternoon, he went to pick up his mail. He forgot his glasses for the first time in 72 years. The next day, he cooked the chicken, cut the chicken without cutting his fingers, without his glasses. The only time he used the glasses was to set the dial on the oven. What happened, the most significant thing that happened was that his vision improved so that he was able to be aware of the ground. See, one of the problems is that the visual field collapses so that you don't know where your feet are. So he said that he could see the pebbles. So that gives him stability in movement. And also his daughter told me that he's a very good cook, so he was transferring some recipes. And the ingredients were written in bold characters, which he could read. Then he continued to read the regular print, which he's not supposed to be able to read. Right. So I don't know exactly what happened. I have some ideas. So since you all know about NLP and health and stuff like that, I think that what happened to him was that he went, it's just one morning he woke up, there was these 2 black spots in his eyes. He went to an ophthalmologist, a young man, not quite sure what he was doing. He said, well, I think it's macular degeneration, but let's have another doctor look at it. So the other doctor came and he looked. So yeah, it is macular degeneration. There's nothing we can do about it. Just, learn to see through the sides of your eyes and so forth. He went to a third one. Said, yeah, there's nothing we can do about that. So that actually is installing a belief, right? So I think that one of the things I said to him, what happens when you cut a finger? Macular degeneration is because there's bleeding. The blood vessels behind the retina bleeds, and then the retina actually is not detached very securely. It's very easy to get off. So what happens when you cut a finger? It bleeds, and it heals. Maybe there's a scar, maybe not. So I think this happens in your eyes too. So, but vision is 90% in the mind. Right? So the mind has this image, this black spot that simply is provided, software. See? All right, so the next question is, suppose a miracle happened tonight in your sleep, and your eyes were restored to perfect vision. How would you know when you wake up tomorrow? What would be the first thing that would let you know that you have perfect eyesight? Would it be the ceiling? The what or what? How would your day be different? What would your relationship with other people be? Would there be a difference in it? The way that you respond to other people and they in turn respond to you? Would you be willing to share some of yes? If you can't see how it would be different, how would it be like if you could?
Maybe the relationship.
Or relationship between you and other people? Maybe they won't.
I can
What?
see how the world would change as far as looking at that part of flowers.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the relationship.
That might not be. Maybe there would not be a big difference. For some people, they feel that there is. They feel. You'll find out. Okay.
Well, like for me, if I can't read the small print, sometimes I'd have to ask my secretary to come and read it, or
Yes.
if I didn't have my reading glasses, or my daughter, I'd say, you're younger. Not correct terminology, I realize. You're younger, you can read this
Yes.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I was going to say, when I open my eyes in the morning, I'd be able to see the leaves on the trees outside. My first thought would be, I left my contacts in by mistake. That was my first thought.
Yes,
But,
yeah.
but secondly, nothing would change in my life except I just wouldn't have to put my contacts in. I'll buy solutions.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
would change.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing has changed. One of your eyes is bigger than the other. Yes.
I didn't realize that there was tension around this for myself until I was doing this writing.
Mhm.
I do more of these.
Yes. Yes.
That was
Yes.
interesting
Yes.
because
Yes.
I did not realize that.
Yeah. That you touched the key to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Susie?
Well, I just realized, too, that I would feel more centered since I started wearing the glasses. I don't feel as
Yeah, yeah. Because for you, if it...
When I put them on in the morning, it's like, oh, whoa,
Yeah,
and it kind of throws me out
yeah,
of balance.
yeah. Very important. Yeah. The last question is, and you need to listen to that carefully now. So, having had perfect eyesight for the last 5-10 years, where would you be in life? Having had perfect eyesight for the last 5-10 years, where would you be in life? Or how would your life be?